The elevator industry in India is looking at a good growth prospect in the near future. In the last growth phase in India, the urbanization was limited to a few metro cities and Tier 1 cities. But post-COVID, with remote and hybrid working concepts coming in and getting settled, I see urbanization happening across other cities, which are Tier 2 and Tier 3 in India. In addition to this, there is an FSI growth that is happening across many municipal corporations and cities. And I think elevator industry is looking at not only horizontal but vertical growth. So I see good times ahead. The rate of growth in the next few years, with the political stability that exists and the infrastructure development that is being spoken about and being done, we see great prospects for the elevator industry in future. Definitely a CAGR of plus 10%. I see a two-digit CAGR happening in the elevator industry. I think there is an all-round growth that is expected. Infrastructure development is rampant, and the pace at which infrastructure is happening across different verticals, whether it is airports, whether it is transport centers, whether it is roads, whether it is ports and harbors, I see infra as one area of key development and growth. Along with infra comes tourism, a lot of focus on tourism. Not only the tourism that we've seen, which is the specific areas like Goa and other places, but there is religion, there is medical tourism happening. There's a lot of hospitals that are being created across districts, across states. And so my take is the segment growth is across all verticals. Commercial utilization absorption rates are going up. There is a lot of offshore activity that is happening, and India is becoming a hub for it, which is driving the commercial absorption and creation. And that will fuel the residential absorption also. So I see growth across all segments, but it's all fueled around the policies of the current government. And it is also fueled by the infra growth that the current government is working on. I see, first of all, the industry needs to get together and create an ecosystem which recognizes the real size of this industry. And unless we do that as an industry through associations and bodies that exist, it's going to be very difficult to influence policy, which is very much needed to enforce good quality and safety systems for our users in the future. So that is my first point of view with respect to the size. So the size is, as you rightly said, much bigger than what's being reported. There are various reports that plague the system. And I would urge the industry first to get together and create a system that recognizes the size. In my opinion and my experience, the size is 100,000 elevators plus in India, while the recognition of the size is much lower than that. I think there are many, but just to put a few in perspective, the first challenge I see is around safety. There are codes in existence. There are codes being upgraded. There is a challenge on how the code upgradation will happen, the IS 17900. But notwithstanding the code challenges, in terms of upgradation, I see the biggest challenge for the industry is to enforce these codes. This is a state subject, and unless the codes are made uniform across India, I don't think it's going to work. And to me, the industry needs to get together and to make our elevators, each elevator that is installed and each elevator that is maintained in India safe. We need to work around how these codes will get implemented. So the industry, with its full power and its unity, needs to get along and work with the government to make sure this happens. To me, that's the biggest challenge. The other big challenge is around the skilling of our workforce. To me, the rate of growth in the last 20 years has been constant. In between, there have been cycles of recession. but the rate of growth has outpaced the development of skills that have been existing in our industry. And that's the biggest pain area our customers see. And for an industry to really grow along with the pace at which real estate is growing, we need to be upskilling and skilling new people. To that extent, the industry needs to work together and together on this subject to make things better in terms of experience for our customers. So to me, these are the two biggest challenges as we see in the industry today. On the first, as I said, there are associations and bodies that exist in the elevator space. There is standards. There are people who represent the industry in the standards. I think this entire gambit of participation has to increase and include every industry nominee. So it cannot be that only a few companies determine what is good and bad. Unless you bring awareness and inclusivity of every stakeholder in this industry, I don't see this challenge going away. As I said, first, we need to have a right size approach. We need to know what the size of the industry is. There has to be an organization that can make this happen. It happens in other industries, and data compilation is not difficult, provided everybody gets together. Once that size is strong enough, and there are industry bodies that have participation from all stakeholders, representations can be done, and we can liaison with the government where there is receptivity on the ideas, but the strength puts it on a back pedal. The moment we bring this on priority, uniform civil codes can be enforced, and the government and the private can get together and create an ecosystem where we can work on the first challenge that I spoke about, is about safety for our users. As far as the second challenge is concerned, skilling, I think major players need to start looking at creating training institutes within ourselves that can address this problem. All of us are trying to poach from each other. It's not going to work. And in our industry, most of the installation is subcontracted. The inclusivity of subcontractors in our system, we have to look at them and make them a part of us. The entire ecosystem must work to create more subcontractors and their training and their skilling. This includes service technicians also. So I think major players will have to play a role without being scared about losing people. End of the day, we need to give back to the society and create the talent for the future to handle our growth. One of the key areas that this industry has really not woken up to in terms of deliverables is aesthetics. And that's a key demand, probably an unmet demand that this industry, those who are able to do it, will be able to create and take away market share from others. So that's an area I think few companies especially are trying to work on today at many times. So there is a balance that large players have to look at in terms of manufacturing process and creating customization and creating too many options. But again, smart manufacturing processes and smart concepts can bridge that issue and we can balance it. So that's an area where I see opportunity for future for companies to work on. I think the bigger opportunity lies around the smart concept. Smart is a buzzword, but for elevator smart, to me, basically makes sure that there is a full transparency around how the system works. So I would put smart into two categories. Transparency is one area that is a deliverable, and the other area is a lot of convenience. The third area is much better uptimes for our customers. So much more reliable systems, pretty transparent process, and the ease of usage of our systems and the ability to connect with the user comes through smart. And it's all about implementation. Smart can, if used well, smart has enough advantages for the end user, for facility managers, for developers. But smart also puts a back pressure on the elevator companies because opening up everything that is the transparency is not easy for elevator companies to come up and share. So my take is those companies who are able to really harness the power of smart by deploying it across the board will benefit the most. ECE as a company has taken that. We are the first in India who are basically wanting to make smart as a standard feature for all our customers. And we are pretty convinced that going smart is useful and it's a win-win for everybody. As I said, smart is a buzzword, but smart as a buzzword needs to be translated into some kind of benefits to our end users and customers. The integration can only happen. I can give you instances of what can happen. Today, when we go to take a service contract, what is it that we are committing? We are committing safety, reliability, uptimes. Is there a quantification of these parameters? Is there a guarantee that we are giving? What is it that we are taking? We are taking an AMC contract, but what are we giving? In terms of numbers, the quantification of this can only happen if there is absolute transparency and there is a smart network that determines everything. It is not about what I say or what the customer says. It's what about the system, which is smart enough to tell us what is right and wrong. That is the transparency part. If the system tells us what is right or wrong, or where it is wrong, it allows us to improve our uptimes. We can go prepared to a site to correct the issue that is there. And all this is logged in. So the performance of an elevator across sites is something that is transparent, visible to all. And this data then in the future is used well to create the predictive maintenance that will enable better uptimes and guarantees from the elevator service providers to their customers. To me, this is the future. And then the whole gambit of how smart the algorithms of predictive maintenance are, where AI comes into picture. So the integration to me is about creating a lot of data that can then be used to improve ourselves. But it should not be one-sided, where only the elevator companies are benefited from it, and to a certain extent customers, without them knowing how they're getting benefited. But all stakeholders getting benefited. To me, that's the biggest integration benefit we can see, provided it is deployed well. It's very simple. If I invert, let's say, my ERP and give it to the customer and give all those data points that he needs at any point of time, he doesn't have to call me for anything. It's open. But when I do that and it gets recorded, my entire performance is in his hands. It puts a huge back pressure. So in the industry, we try and restrict information that is available to our customers. Smart enables that complete transparency to come in. So to me, that's a big one. And all this data and AI will also enable us to look at where we could improve on performance. Today, when I look at a buying criteria, I've been an elevator consultant. When I look at a buying criteria of customers, they buy elevators as a commodity. Where is the guarantee on performance? Where is the quantification of performance parameters? I think as an industry, if we also educate our customers about the importance of determining and ascertaining the performance parameters, and then giving them an ecosystem where they can actually see all this without asking anything, is the ultimate transparency that we can create through the smart route. I'll answer the second question first. ECE has been growing at the rate of almost 30% for the last 5 years. And we are one of the fastest growing elevator companies pan-India. Our idea is to keep this momentum going and probably increase it. As far as ECE as a brand, first of all, we would like to continue the legacy encapsulated by Mr. B.K. Birla, who founded this company. which is built around trust. So the buzzword is trust. As far as how we want to differentiate or how we want to create our brand creation is around our vision and our charter. It simply states that we will be globally admired for being, we have 5 elements. We work. 1, safe. So safety for all. B, sustainability. C, smart mobility solutions, not just products, but also the processes. D, we want to be recognized for our people, which means we want to create those skilled manpower that brings in the best-in-class experience, which is the 5th element. That's the biggest aspect of our brand building. We want to create a brand that is known for providing the best-in-class experience, right from the time you give an order to us to the life cycle of the product. These are the 5 elements: safety, sustainability, smart, recognized for our people, and best-in-class customer experience. These are 5 elements that we think will take us to the level where we are globally admired, not just in India, but outside. And that is where our brand building is going to happen, through these actions. Smart is based out of Bangalore, this event. And we are kind of a startup in Bangalore in our new avatar. So for us, it's an outreach to connect with the industry across all stakeholders. So our objective is to become visible and let people know that we are back with a bang. We would also like to share through this event our credibility of what we have created in other parts of India. And we would like to use this forum to let people know of what we've done at other places, which we intend to, and we have started replicating in the South. The other objective is, as your forum is about smart, and we believe we are the front runners in deploying smart. As I said, ECE is the only Indian or the only elevator company in India that has made standard as a smart offering. Smart is a standard offering. It really goes along with your objectives too. The synergy and the conversions I see in your smart exhibition really attracts us to come and work along with you and write the whole story of smart and show it to the world how we are doing. My take is, whether it's an industry and an organization or anything that we create, we all look forward to recognition. So much efforts go across in the industry on creating what is desired by a customer. And if awards and rewards or recognition is there, which is done in a fair manner, where stakeholders get together to recognize these efforts, my take is you will see more of innovations happening. And this is the best motivator the industry will get. Something that we've been lacking as an industry. We've been doing too many things right. We've been working on the basics, but we've not been recognized. For example, I can proudly say that this industry has been a front runner when it comes to deploying safety at sites. I remember 2 decades ago when we started talking safety with our customers used to brush us away, saying, look, this is India. We manage all this. But as an industry, a lot of us decided we will not manage. Well, that's another thing that in the last couple of years, we're again seeing trends which are showing that the fatalities are increasing. And that is what I spoke about as a challenge, where we need to get together. But recognition around things that this industry is doing, especially smart things that fuel innovation, is a great way forward. And I thank you for doing this. It's a great step. I will talk personally as well as professionally as an industry member. It's a great thing that you're doing. Any chance I get as a person to talk about safety and make people aware, including my own parents, my kids, my building neighbors, etc., I do. As an industry, in forums that we get together. There's a lot of discussion that we talk about how do we bring this awareness to the users and the end users. It's just not about putting the best safe practices in our products and the way we install or maintain, but how do we bring the other stakeholders to work with us and make them aware? There are a lot of ideas. Some of them we talk, we don't act on. Happy to see you guys doing something, a safety run which takes you through the breadth of a city, volume of a city, or you do it virtually. The awareness campaign is excellent. And I would urge the industry members also to do more. We will do our part. We are doing our part. But all of us need to do more. We are good marathon runners in Bangalore, so I'll make sure those guys are there. I stated my opinion right at the start of this session where I said a uniform lift policy and a uniform lift act is the minimum requirement for us to enable safety for our users. Nothing else will work. Either we make sure that every state picks up the same act and deliverables. There could be minor changes basis the demography or the culture of that state, but a uniform lift act is something that I think is a basic minimum for us to kickstart and ensure that everybody who uses elevators in India are safe.